253 broadcasting stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day.
Welcome in on a fabulous Friday. Relief and joy, those are different emotions. Sometimes they go hand in hand, probably because I asked Ryan Silverfield last night which he felt more of, and he said, honestly, more relief. And he said that because his football team, those players who stayed true to the course, never turned on one another, he really could not find total fault except for turning the ball over. But certainly the effort was always there. They were in position. They just didn't finish. And then last night they did. Last night, against a Navy team that is not built to come back, Memphis scored quickly. Memphis had guys who just basically stood up when others couldn't make it. No Hennigan, no problem. No Austin, no problem. Guys like Weaver, guys like Zay Collins, because Thomas Pickens couldn't go, came up. You realize that in Mike McIntyre's career as a head coach, as an assistant coach, as a coordinator, he has never lost to a service academy, never lost to Army, never lost to Navy, never played Air Force. He understands the triple option. Toughness, discipline, that's what he said, and that's what the U of M was able to execute last night, and for that reason, they do not fall under 500 for the first time since 2017 in the hopes of going to a bowl game for an eighth straight year, really to win 8 games. That'll be tough, but that goal still is one that you could accomplish after the U of M wins by a score of 35-17 last night. Evan Barnes, the commercial appeal beat writer for the Tigers, will join us in a little bit to talk about that game. We have Andy Schiffman on the NBA. Of course, he's from Priority Sports. He's our agent in Chicago. And we got a bunch to talk with him about, including yesterday. Tony Allen pleading not guilty in court in New York to fraud. Allegedly, he took $420,000 in made-up dental work, maybe also some chiropractic work for he and his wife. He pleaded not guilty. And here's where I get lost in all of this. If you paid back $370,000 of the $420,000 you allegedly received from the NBA healthcare system for work you didn't get done. You paid back $370,000. Isn't that an admittance that you took the money? So how in the world are you not guilty? That part I don't quite understand. Maybe Andy Schiffman will be able to help us out there. We'll sort through the Kyrie Irving situation and go from there. What a great game last night between the Dodgers and the Giants. Fitting that it would end 2-1. Terrible that it ends on a check swing that under further review, and it's not reviewable, but under further review from almost everybody, including Dodgers fans, first base umpire Gabe Morales called a check swing strikeout of a Max Scherzer pitch. Yeah, Scherzer was the closer to make sure the Dodgers got into the NLCS against the Atlanta Braves, a repeat from last year. But the check swing was really a check swing. And so there will be a little taint on this one. But just imagine how close the Dodgers and the Giants were this year. You know, regular season, Giants won it by a game with 107 wins and 106 wins for the Dodgers. They played 24 times this year, with the playoffs included, and each team won 12. And the final, on a bump call at the end with a man on first base, so you really can't say they would have come back and won the game, but each pitch counts, and the Giants end up losing to the Dodgers 2-1. 24 games against each other, tied 12-12, and that final game ends 2-1. The biggest news in baseball yesterday for those around here was the firing of Mike Shildt. So he leads the Cardinals on a 17-game winning streak to get them into postseason. They battle, and it takes a walk-off play by the Dodgers to advance to the LDS to take on those Giants, and still Shildt got fired. I was stunned. I really was. I'm not certain it's a bad move, but I don't know that it was a deserving move. So that opens up the door. Will the Cardinals hire Stubby Clapp? I would. Stubby Clapp is a younger guy who can relate to today's player. Some of the guys on that team now were part of his PCL championships. He's the only guy that I've been around that have won 2 straight minor league championships. Then he got elevated. He's a coach. He's the guy I would pick if I were the Cardinals organization. I don't know if they will or not. Now, they've done that in the past with Matheny. They elevated him after La Russa left. Would that be the way they go? Makes total sense to me if indeed that is what the Cardinals will do. I'm all for Stubby. I don't know if he can still do the flip, but if he got it, I know his heart would flip, and I think he's deserving. We'll see if that indeed is the way that they go. So that's sort of the way this show is going to go today. Oh, I didn't mention Glenn Rogers Jr. will join us in the final segment to talk high school football, and one of the great high school rivalries in the state, in the region, Christian Brothers, MUS, 60th meeting today. Listen to this. This is outstanding. The Owls lead the series 30-27-3. So this will be the 61st meeting. The difference in points out of those 60 meetings is 47. These games are always close, and we will chat about that with Glenn Rogers Jr. about 10:42 today. In the meantime, Evan Barnes is going to join us momentarily here. I'll let you know. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and I want to remind you that it is time to relax at home. That's why they got a sale going on. The weather gets a little cooler. You might want to stay at home, invite family, invite friends for pool or shuffleboard or air hockey or any of the beautiful things they have in the store. Or maybe you want to invite them over to watch the big game or even a movie. You can do it in style with new theater seating. They also have spas, saunas. They're in the house. They have spas. They won't have them for long. You know they always move. So head on over to I-40 and Whidden Road. See Billy, see Lindsay, see all the crew. They take care of you, and the store looks fantastic. Head on over to I-40 and Whidden Road. Family Leisure, where family and fun all come together. Defense is what came together last night at the Liberty Bowl. Zach Boyd is our producer filling in for Jay Morgan. This thing, Greg Gaston does this to me every single day. He leaves the screen on with the arrow on drop. If I try to move that to get Evan Barnes on, I will drop Evan Barnes. I'm going to have to get on Mr. Gaston about this. In the meantime, thank you, Zach, and Evan Barnes, the terrific commercial appeal writer whose beat is the Tigers and the Grizzlies, for that matter. He joins us now. Evan, last night, Mike McIntyre and his defense made a statement. It's the best that they have played this year, and it really is interesting. When we had our meetings on Thursday, or I guess it was on Wednesday this week, with McIntyre, the first thing he said is, I've never lost to Navy. I've never lost to Army. I understand how to stop the triple option. And other than the very first drive, which was crazy, 11 minutes and 50 seconds, 21 plays, longest drive I've seen in a long, long time. Other than that drive, they were absolutely brilliant. Good morning.
Good morning, Wolo. I think we're all trying to process and recover from last night. These Thursday night games are a lot, but I think you're right. I mean, I think we talked to Mike McIntyre last year. Like he actually, had some experience playing option teams, and that success helped him last year, where Navy was held to just 7 points, and it showed this week where that Navy offense just completely was held in check. I mean, how many times do you see a team rush for more yards than Navy in a game? How many times do you see a Navy team, get under 250 yards? Like, that's pretty impressive work by a defense that, frankly, needed to step up and show up. This was a defense that had not had a sack in 2 games. They hadn't had a turnover in 2 games. That streak was extended to 3 games, not getting one yesterday. But this was a defensive game that I thought they needed to play. And after that first drive, they rose up, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Navy didn't run 20 plays after that until like their 4th or 5th drive. Like, they were basically getting off the field right away. And that was, to me, a big part of the game, was that the defense really stepped up and had one of its finest performances of the season, if not the best performance.
Seth Hennigan last night threw a pick, and what does he do after that pick? Drives the team down the field. It's amazing. Every time the guy has made a mistake, he bounces back. His mental toughness is amazing. Now we got to hope that his right hand is okay. Basically, Ryan Silverfield said after the game it was all precautionary with he and with Calvin Austin, because they didn't play very much in the fourth quarter. Give me your take on Hennigan.
I think Hennigan, like you said, I think the one thing about Seth Hennigan I'm impressed with is he understands that if he makes a mistake, he can compartmentalize it and quickly move on and fix it. Like, we saw that, I think, against Mississippi State, right? He had that interception, and then he led them on a 98-yard drive. He throws a pick. I'm trying to remember what game it was he had a pick, and he just bounced back from it. Really, the only game where I thought, he kind of just, kept making mistakes was the Tulsa game. And even that game, he's still in position to put the Tigers on a game-winning drive before he throws his last interception. So I'm impressed by just his ability to fix his mistakes, not continue to dive deep into doing the same things over and over that got him in trouble, but just find a way to get it done. And like you said, we talked to Seth Hennigan after the game. He was fine. He had no bandages on anything on his arm or his hand. So it looks like it was just precaution, as, Silverfield told you guys. So, and he told us the same thing. So overall, I think it could have been, it was a solid game for him, even though he probably hasn't thrown for 12. He probably hasn't thrown 12 passes in a game going back to high school.
Right.
That's probably something he probably has never done, but it got the job done. He was efficient. He was smart. He got things done. Even the interception, you could probably say that Colin Watkins probably stopped short on that route. But overall, I thought it showed exactly what the best of Hennigan is. When he makes a mistake, he can keep going, and he knows how to spread the ball around.
And there was something very interesting you wrote in your game story that I frankly did not know. And it was not mentioned at our meetings when I sat down with Kevin Johns himself. And maybe this decision was made after we had our meetings on Wednesday. But Kevin Johns normally sits up in the press box. I usually see him and Mike McIntyre walk by, and I will chat with them. I did not notice that Kevin Johns was not in the press box. He was downstairs. Give us the story as to why.
So I have to tip my hat to my columnist, Mark Giannino. He noticed it immediately, and we all were kind of like, oh, that's interesting. But apparently when we asked Ryan Silverfield about it, Mark did actually, Ryan Silverfield said it was a player's decision. Players have asked, hey, can we get Kevin Johns, the offensive coordinator, down the sideline? And it was unusual because since Kevin Johns has been at Memphis for the last 3 seasons, he's called games from the coach's box. So it probably was something where, hey, the players were like, hey, we need to fix some things. Why don't we have him on the sidelines? And Ryan Silverfield was good with it. Kevin Johns was good with it. And you could just tell that the offense looked more relaxed, looked more creative. It looked more fun again. Just to be honest, it looked more fun. And I think it said a lot about how Ryan Silverfield understands that he knows how to trust his players to not just say the right things, but, hey, they have a pulse on things. He trusts his veterans. And it showed a lot of, great decision-making to trust his players. And it worked out. Now, he said we won't know if it's going to be something that continues. But as I wrote today, I think it should for now. Why thing going if it's not broken. I mean, who knows what can happen next week against UCF? I think whatever works, you keep it going unless it doesn't work, and then you change. So for me, I thought that was a really interesting decision that really paid off because Seth Hennigan told us that he felt really, really comfortable. Phil told us that the players really love Coach Johns because of his,
calming demeanor. Yeah,
I
love
demeanor.
that.
And we talked to him. He's a man of few words. Kevin Johns is not someone who says more than he needs to, but the players really respond to his teaching, what he sees on the field. And I think to me, that was a good sign that, hey, an adjustment had to be made. It got done, and it worked out pretty well.
You had guys last night who stepped up. Thomas Pickens, normally the starter as an outside linebacker, couldn't make it, so Zay Collins had 12 tackles. I think 11 of them were solo. It was pretty impressive stuff. Then you had Mashburn step up. On the other side, you had Eddie Lewis step in because Gabe Rogers could not make it. Also, Ryan Silverfield has made the point 24 freshmen or redshirt freshmen, not counting even the COVID guys, have played this year. You see guys step up. You see this young team getting experience. I think it really bodes well for Silverfield in the long term.
Well, let's hope so, because we're going to find out really quickly with a lot of veterans on this team how it's going to look next year. A lot of young guys are going to play and step up next year to show how they benefited from this year. But right now, what you have to admire is this is really a young team on offense, at least, and a lot of those guys are stepping up. A lot of the defensive guys, have been hurt. Some of the guys have been hurt. Guys have come in and stepped up. And so for me, I think it's a good sign that, this Memphis team has been able to plug different guys in, and whether they've been able to work or not, it's getting them experience for the next year and whatnot. But you have to give it up for veterans like Zay Collins and Cole Mashburn, guys who played a lot of games. They came in, had an excellent job on defense in a game where you really need your linebackers to really come to the zone. And it worked. So give Memphis credit. And we'll see what happens next week against UCF for if guys like Pickens and Dree Clark and Gabe Rogers are healthy.
Yeah, I have no idea when they will be coming back. And, of course, the U of M is pretty mum on those kinds of things. All right, so here you go next week. Most likely Dylan Gabriel does not play. UCF's had some pretty banged-up guys, but you got to go to the Bounce House in Orlando. The other road trip that you will have will be at Houston. They look like they can be a prolific team on occasion. Although I've seen them look shoddy. Then you've got home games with a ranked team in SMU. You've got East Carolina and Tulane, and both those games at home look real winnable. We know that there is an 8-win season streak of 7 years on the line. We know that there's the same streak number of years for bowls. What do you think Memphis's final number will be, Evan Barnes? I'm putting you on the spot.
Ooh, you're killing me, Wolo. You're killing me on that. Well, I will go ahead and say on record that as of right now, I do not think they win 8 games because I don't see how, they beat SMU or Houston, which would give them 5 losses. Now, granted, they could have to be 7-5 and win the bowl game, and then you got 8 wins there. So there is that. But let's just say regular season. So I think those 2 games right now are potential losses because SMU looks like the best team in the AAC besides Cincinnati.
I agree.
Houston looks like they finally got things together under Dana Holgorsen. I still think that game is really wacky and anything can happen. But Houston has been probably tired of losing to Memphis. They might be motivated with a team this good. So I think right now I chalk that game as a loss. So I'd say best case scenario is 7-5, which, might be disappointing for folks who are used to 8 wins, but 7-5 right now looks pretty good. Assuming, of course, that UCF doesn't come out playing like, bats out of hell because they want revenge for last year. So I'd say 7-5, but I also think that, Memphis knows that these games, as winnable as they all are, these games are also losable. Like, if you look at a team like ECU looks very much an improved team. You look at Tulane has struggled against some good teams, but that game is always tricky because Tulane won last year. So 7-5 right now sounds like a pretty good prediction, and that will get them into a bowl game. So we'll see what happens, but I think I'll go with that right now. Well, and if I'm wrong, I'm coming after you.
Evan Barnes, I'd take it right now. I'd take that deal. If they gave that to me, I would absolutely take that deal. Last thing, because you're also the Grizzlies beat writer, explain to me, if you have been charged with fraud and you've already paid back $370,000 of the $420,000 that you allegedly took, and I'm assuming that you took it because you gave back that money, how are you not guilty, which is exactly what Tony Allen pleaded?
I'm pretty sure it's just the nature of where you are in life, where if you get charged with a crime, your attorneys are probably saying, hey, let's take it to court and see what happens. And that's probably the process that they're thinking, because obviously pleading guilty, you're facing probably whatever charges come with that one count. So we're going to see what happens, but it's really unfortunate. I mean, this whole scheme, and really give Tony Allen credit for being the only person in the indictment, according to the indictment, who did pay back some of the money. But this whole situation is really unfortunate that, you had these 18 players, and Tony Allen's wife participating in it, to defraud the NBA's healthcare program. And it's really sad. I mean, it's sad because now when guys want to try to get health care, they're going to have their claims looked at even more tightly. And, it's really unnecessary. If Terrence Williams, who was accused of being the alleged ringleader of the scheme, I really would like to know just kind of, why? Like, why would you think you could get over in a situation that's easily traceable? And with the way healthcare is in this country, people are very much looking to see if false claims are up. So it's really unfortunate. And you just really, you want to see what happens and takes place going forward. So I don't want to get into, any accusations on on too many things, but at least right now, it's very unfortunate. And I really want to see how this plays out, because when the feds are involved, there's a lot of things that can happen. So it's just really unfortunate that this happened.
I would really like to know, Evan, how did Terrence Williams go to Tony? How did he go to CDR and sell him on this? I mean, if they're fooled by Terrence Williams, which may be the reason that you could say not guilty. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. And then when Tony realized what was going on, he goes, oh, that's wrong. I got to pay it back. Maybe that's his stance, and I hope that is it, and that Terrence Williams is the mastermind and basically fooled all these guys into fraud. That's it. Otherwise, I don't get it. How did he sell them on saying, hey, just tell them you got root canals and chiropractic and you can get $300,000? I mean, come on. How in the world did that all work out? We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Evan, as always, I truly appreciate your writing and you being on with us, and we'll do it again soon.
Appreciate you, Wolo. Anytime. Bring me on, man.
You got it. Evan Barnes from the Commercial Appeal. He's brought to you in part by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, those famous $69 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Ups. They do that in the spring for your air conditioning system. They do it in the fall when it starts to get cold. High of 70 tomorrow. The front is coming in. It'll really feel like fall. They do that on your heating system with a safety inspection. They use their state-of-the-art camera system. It goes up in there, checks for leaks, and then when it's clear, they do a carbon monoxide test to make sure you've got peace of mind. So you get the super tune-up inside and outside of the house, the complete safety inspection with the carbon monoxide test, all for the same price of $69. Please take advantage and be safe. All you got to do is call 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. And I mentioned that weather. What a weekend for golf. Head to Miramichi. You know that tomorrow, I don't care if you're 17, 18, 22, 44, it's $49 to play on a weekend at the beautiful Miramichi, 7,400 yards of championship golf, which sits on 330 acres of the most beautiful setting you've seen. The back nine, there's a stream that meanders through, there's waterfalls, and there is a challenge. It is gorgeous, and then you end the day on the deck overlooking the best view in Shelby County. Please go see my friends at Miramichi. If you love golf, you'll love Miramichi. We'll pause for a second. When we come back to Chicago, we go. Our agent, Andy Schiffman, comes your way in a minute.
This is Brett Norsworthy, and I want to thank you for listening through all these years and want you to continue listening to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, and to me with Gabe Kuhn on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 560 and 98.5 FM.
The Original Hot Dog Factory and Spice Wing, located at 4265 Hex Cross Road near 385. The menu offers a variety of all-beef hot dogs with over 20 choices. Try some of the best-selling favorites like the Bacon Wrap Memphis Dog and even sausages like Street Polish, Italian, or Jamaican Jerk Chicken. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 till 10, and Sunday, 11 to 8. Catering and event hosting is available. Have your next meeting or family gathering at the Original Hot Dog Factory. Now hiring team members. Apply in person. The Original Hot Dog Factory and Spice Wing.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Chicago we go momentarily. This portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at James Davis, the only place you can get the perfect fit Stant system for pants and shirts. 2 measurements for the pants. You look like $1 million and they feel so good. You get 3 measurements for the shirts. All of a sudden that tie feels very comfortable around your neck. You can button that collar beautifully and everything fits perfectly. Reasonably priced. and it's custom fitting. I mean, it's custom fitting like we've never seen before. It's got this algorithm with these measurements into a computer. Stant's taken off. Oh, by the way, the only place you can find Stant custom fitting is at James Davis Men's Store. They've got all the fashions, all the fall stuff is in. Same people that will take care of you, tailoring if you need it for anything else. If you don't get the custom fit Stant system, they do it all, and they've been doing it forever. It is the men's store in all of Memphis. It is James Davis in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Our friend, who always looks like he's stepping out of GQ, that would be Andy Schiffman from Priority Sports in Chicago, joins us now. And, Andy, I got to tell you, the Grizzlies have looked great in the exhibition season. They really have. Even in the losses when they're not playing their main guys, and there's been 2 games, the only ones they've lost. They got a guy like Sam Merrill, who they got in the Grayson Allen trade from the Bucks, and all of a sudden he has 8 threes and 30 points in the game. Is Sam Merrill going to be a part of this equation? Good morning.
Morning to you, and look, I'm biased because I represent Sam Merrill with Priority. So,
oh, wow. I swear to you, I did not know that. I really did not.
Hey, most people didn't know who Sam Merrill was going into that Pacers game. But look, we saw it firsthand when he was in college at, in Utah State. This is what he does. He has got great size. He can handle it, even be a secondary ball handler, and he can shoot lights out. And so it was great to see that against the Pacers, even when the Pacers really doubled down on him, and Brad Wanamaker really tried to make it tough for him. You got Sam, who was the last pick in the draft with the Bucks, an NBA champion, really didn't play much last year, just carving guys up the other night. So it's great to see. And so, look, obviously it seems like they've got, I believe, him and Chris Dunn probably fighting for his last sponsor spot. And there are, I would say, financial ramifications and somewhat of a advantage to keep a guy like Chris Dunn, not because necessarily they see these part of their future, more so just because he could be a trade asset with his salary. Mm-hmm. But hey, look, in my opinion, Dave, if you're trying to win, every team needs shooting. You got a young shooter, a diamond in the rough, so to speak, in Sam. Hopefully they will keep him, because absolutely Sam can come off the bench and help them. I mean, who doesn't need more shooting off the bench? And he is a tough kid.
Do they get messages like after that game? Does Taylor Jenkins, does Zach Kleiman, do they say anything to him which they could relate, if you can say this without confidentiality issues? Do they come and they say, "Woo, now we've got an issue, Sam. We got to really think about you"? Is there any message that he got from all that?
Teams don't really say that to the players directly. I've got another player in a similar situation with another team. We have not yet heard. We really have to hear the deadline for to keep these players heading into the start of the season next week. So teams really don't communicate that at this point to the players. They will talk with us as the agents about that if we inquire. But this time of year, honestly, Dave, I tend not to be picking up the phone and calling and asking, "What do you think about Sam? What do you guys think?" It breeds a little bit of desperation, and you don't want to look defensive. And we're moving forward with the Grizzlies as if he's going to be a part of their organization. But behind the scenes, we're not doing our job if we're not on the phone constantly looking for other opportunities as a backup plan, not only for Sam, but for anybody in his position. So we can be ready at the drop of a hat if for some reason he does not stick with the Grizzlies. But it's just great to see these guys in his position. I've got Sam Decker in Toronto. He's another guy fighting for a spot. And he just came off the bench the other night, only played in the second half and scored 18 points in 8 minutes. And we love making these teams decisions even tougher with performances like that.
I would have to think that a 30-point performance, even if it is in an exhibition game against the Indiana Pacers, that other people around the league see that, and Sam Merrill's stock has to go up a little bit, because in a league that now values three-point shooting more than any other time in its history, that thing you would think would go a long, long way. If you are the New Orleans Pelicans, if you're the Pelicans and your prized possession, Zion, is injured again, can't start the regular season, which is looming here, and I don't know how long he's out, but I know he's not going to answer the starting bell. What are you thinking?
Well, look, I think that he will be back this calendar year. I don't think he'll be playing in October and potentially early November. It is a little bit concerning because he's had some injury history in the past, obviously. And, they've got a brand new coach after the Stan Van Gundy experiment. For whatever reason, didn't really work out. So I think they could be in a little bit of trouble to start the season. I think they will have to rely heavily on a lot of their young players. They had a really good draft. They drafted Trey Murphy, who is a 6'9" athletic shooter out of Virginia. They drafted our guy, Herb Jones, who is elite defensively and a really good playmaker and just big-time defender and rebounder in the second round. And so, look, they're going to have to rely on a lot of those young guys to carry the load starting the season. They've got some guys now who are really nice pieces, who are really considered veterans, guys like Delon Graham, Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Obviously, they've got Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, guys like that. Obviously, former Grizzly Valanciunas. I think he's probably the oldest one on the team at this point.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me, I take that back. Our guy Garrett Temple, who is the mayor of the NBA, is there also. But I think they could struggle to start the season. I don't really get overly concerned that Zion could be out of the All-Star break or beyond that as of today. But they've got their work cut out for them to start the season, for sure.
I would be concerned because, as we look at this, and I think the guy is a freak. I think he's a great player. I am certainly not diminishing his skills, his athleticism, his physicality. But what I am going to question is, can he play a full season? He couldn't do it in college. He hasn't done it in the NBA yet. And now here he is in basically his third year, and he can't start. He can't answer the bell to begin with. He's always got an injury. I think if I'm doing prognostications, I'm not going to count the Pelicans up high because I don't think you can count on Zion.
I agree. Look, he played 24 games the first year, 61 last year. So look, think about that. Total his first 2 years, they have 85 games. And you think about
that's like Jaren Jackson Jr. almost.
Yeah, exactly. You make the first round of the playoffs, that's 85 games in 1 year. And so that was a concern of mine, just looking at his body, his physical body. How is that going to hold up? The way his gait, the way he runs, especially be concerned long term about what all that exploding and planting and twisting does on his knees for his size. I think long term, look, that's concerned. But the good thing is, number one, he's an elite level, once in a generation talent. So you can't, in a million years, pass up on a guy like that. Even if you're getting him for, let's call it 3/4 of a season, that's still better than a lot of players playing 100% of the season. And two, with the technology as it is today, a lot of these players are so, I guess, I don't want to say pampered, but they're managed in such a way that the NBA, you're getting the absolute best treatment for anything that might ail you, for any lingering injury or issue. And so the Pelicans and their staff, they're going to do as good a job as possible to maintain his health and sustain it. And maybe there comes a point in time later this season where they hold him out of back-to-backs, where they limit his minutes. But again, you're talking about, we've all seen him play now, right? You know what you get in Zion. No one can stop him. He's a freight train, and he's as good as they come. And so, look, even if you can manage to get 6 or 7 strong years out of him, and I think he's going to have a long NBA career. I'm just speaking more conservatively. It's still a win. You can't pass that up. You can't get overly concerned and be too pessimistic about him.
Well, your point on load management is well taken because the Grizzlies have played 5 games and they've rested their starters in 2 of the 5.
Yep.
So,
and
some
sounds
of that
like,
is.
I think tonight you'll see more of those guys stepping out. I think tonight you saw the Hawks do it last night against the very limited Miami squad. These teams now, especially in their last preseason game, they're really trying to get everyone on the same page. So I think tonight, I'm actually going to go to the game here in Chicago. I think we'll see Jaren and Ja and some of these rotational players back out there.
All right, my friend. As always, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I know you're on your way to basically put real roots down in Chicago, getting a house.
Exactly.
So good luck on that, and we'll chat with you next week in your usual spot, which would be coming up.
Sounds good, Dave. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Good luck. That is our friend from Chicago, actually a Memphian always at heart. That is Andy Schiffman on the NBA. The weekend is here. Time to load up at the Spirit Shop. Oh, yeah. You know all about the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick, that little log cabin. You've passed it a million times just down the street from Clark Tower. That's the place you go to stock up on anything you want. It says Spirit Shop. It's got everything from accessories like seasoning to rim your glass for a cocktail to chips that might go well with some sort of tequila thing or tequila. And I mean valuable or bargain. Or same thing that goes with bourbon or with wines. You've got Silver Oak, you've got Opus, you've got Caymus, but then you've got middle ground, and you've got up-and-comers that might be reasonably priced right now, but they're going to soar because they're up-and-coming wines. And Eddie Connor and his family that runs this in 69, they are the ones that will educate you. They love to talk spirits. All you got to do is get to Poplar and St. Nick. And we should point out this portion of the show also brought to you by Edwin Watts, the golf shop of Memphis. There's no doubt about that. It's the only place that has 2 different bays with computers where they, if you buy clubs from them, will do the fitting for you. And they got the pros that are in there that will steer you in the right direction. If you want, and they got it all, any kind of clubs, from TaylorMade to Srixon to Titleist to Callaway, everything in the store. We used to go and buy our stuff at pro shops at our country clubs. We now go to Edwin Watts because it's the best prices with the most variety. And anything that's new, you'll find it at Edwin Watts. Just carve out some time for yourself because you're going to know somebody there to kibitz golf. It's the place to go. If you love golf, it's Edwin Watts at Poplar and I-240. We pause for a second. When we come back, our coach, Glenn Rogers Jr., on high school football, and he's got a showdown tonight, his Owls and Christian Brothers. That's next.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Belly Acres' motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. 2 great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday, 11A to 9P. Friday and Saturday, 11A to 10P. Regalia, Sunday through Thursday, 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Daria or the Double Daria, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Belly Acres.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. As we all know, Memphis can be a hotbed for severe weather, and that weather can play havoc on our roofs. Most people don't know what they should do first when they're concerned about the condition of their roof. Call their insurance company, call a contractor, or trust a door-to-door salesman that's making claims that are hard to believe. My advice would be call the contractor that you know and trust. If you don't know any, research your local contractors and give 2 or 3 a call. I hope your research will lead you to us. Have your roof inspected, decide for yourself what you should do and whether or not you should file a claim with your insurance company. It's your home, it's your policy, and it's your money. Don't let anyone pressure you into anything. If you give Five Ash Roofing a call, we promise personal service with a member of our family with no pressure and no hype. Five Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
AC trouble? Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60. Then this year, Air Doctors is the official HVAC contractor for St. Jude Dream House. Air Doctors installed the St. Jude Dream House new Train high-efficiency equipment. Get your service from the best. AirDoctorsOfMemphis.com. Call 901-598-HVAC.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We got a heck of a lineup coming your way over the next few days. Tomorrow, Ole Miss and Tennessee broadcast time with Brett Norsworthy and then, of course, David Kellum and all the crew. That starts at 4:30, and what a game that's going to be in Knoxville. I think you may need a calculator to figure out what that thing's going to be. The over-under is in the 80s. I know that. And I'm not sure you don't go over on that one. Green Bay and Chicago. The Bears. The Pack. That's what NFL football is all about. That starts at noon on Sunday right here. Then the Raiders with a new head coach and the Denver Broncos. And that should be a great game. That comes your way at 3. Sunday Night Football, Seahawks and Steelers. And then Monday, the Bills at the Titans. That'll be 7 o'clock. All those games right here on Sports 56 and on 98.5 FM. This portion of the show brought to you by Old Dominic. I love talking about these guys. This is so cool. If you are looking for something different, 2 different avenues that I can send to you with Old Dominic. It starts with the distillery tour. So there they are, right in the heart of downtown Memphis at 305 South Front Street. And they have a tour. So you can go way, way back to Domenico Canelli. He started this, came to this country with nothing, and they had their distributorship, and now they've got this distillery. It's a great family story, and it's all Memphis. You'll love it. You'll learn the history, and then this 45-minute sensory adventure ends with a tasting. Oh, yeah. You can taste some of the great product from Old Dominic. And then if you're looking for something to do in the evening, they've got this great bar. They got mixologists that are there under the guidance of this great master distiller, Alex Castle. And she, by the way, won't let that bourbon get released until it's ready. There are some experts that say it's ready. She goes, no, got to be perfect. And it is. That stuff is great. So you go to the bar. It's a beautiful atmosphere. Not uppity at all. Very casual and relaxed. And you can fancy an old-fashioned. Maybe you'll try a whole flight of Old Dominic products. You'll love it. I promise. That's Old Dominic the bar or Old Dominic the tour. Either way, go to olddominic.com. So this is a weird story, but Glenn Rogers Jr. and I have played phone tag, and he had his phone stolen. So apparently he's gotten lost here. This is the first time, and I don't know how many years Glenn Rogers Jr. has not been able to make his appearance on this show, and it's too bad because this is a big game. And I'll be honest, I love this particular rivalry. I know Central High School goes way, way, way back, and that was the first. I think that might have been the first public school that really had a football team. And if you'll recall, Central on their old helmets just had H because it was the only high school other than some of the private stuff. So we know that after that, I think MUS and Christian Brothers are the longest running rivalry. Central might have some that are longer, and I'm not 100% certain of that. But this thing is playing for the 61st time. And you got guys like Thomas McDaniel, who is the coach of Christian Brothers. And then you've got Bobby Alston, who's been, I'd say at MUS, I think he was an assistant there for Jake Rudolph for at least 15 years. I would have to say he's been around for 20 years as the head coach. He must be 35 years as the guy as a part of MUS, Bobby Alston. And when you look and sort this thing out, I mean, two quality coaches, really good football minds. McDaniel just loves the basics of trying to run you over. Bobby Alston is old school, too. He does not mind that at all. And Zach, when we look at these two teams and you see 60 meetings separated by 47 points, 3 games, Christian Brothers has the better, or the Owls actually have the better of the Brothers by 3 games. It's 30, 27, and 3. That spells special.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see the D1 talent on the field as well for both teams, because they've always produced great football talent. And they've gone on to play either in one of the Power 5 schools or here locally here in the city. And, it's always special to see Memphis talent leave the city and actually be productive on a much bigger stage. Not to say that Memphis is not a bigger city or a bigger stage, but to go to, Tuscaloosa, to go to Ohio State and go to Oregon and produce on a big stage, and put put Memphis as a football recruiting spot on the map, that's always a big thing.
Dallin Hayden, the running back at Christian Brothers, I'm trying to remember. He committed to
Ohio State.
I knew it was a Big Ten school. He's clearly a guy that not only is going to play in big-time college football, but he's a guy, I think, because his dad was terrific. I think he's got a chance to play in the National Football League.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be a fun story to keep our eye on. Also, and we learned this on Wednesday, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl has 2 coaches.
They do.
One from the private sector, one from the public sector, and that is Kingsbury's Quentin Jones, will coach one team, Brian Stewart from Briarcrest, and they've been great the last few years. He's a big offensive lineman kind of a guy. That game you'll hear in December on Sports 56 and 98.5, that is always a classic, a terrific game. And I'm so glad that this station is a part of that, because the thing I love most about it is a lot of these guys come in. Dallin Hayden probably is not going to play in the game, right?
Right.
This is not for Dallin Hayden.
No.
This game is for other really good players that may have not been noticed, but they get noticed because there are literally 100 coaches, scouts, people that will see you in practice and in the game and get a chance at a college scholarship.
Yeah, it's a big platform for those late risers to get in and put their names in with the big schools. I didn't know that Coach Jones was related to Anthony Jones, the running backs coach.
At the U of M? Well,
I didn't know that.
And
I was like, oh, okay, let's keep the tradition going.
It kind of figures, right? I mean, Anthony Jones was a Cordova high school coach before he got his break into the Memphis coaching realms. One last little high school note, and then we got to get out of here to make way for Johnny Radio. And that is the story of what is going on at Douglas. Douglas High School, when COVID hit, they were down to 8 players. Somehow, Reginald Davis, their head coach, rallied, got 50 guys, and it looks like they got a good chance. They're in a battle with Sheffield for the playoffs.
Hey, that is amazing. The fact that you started with 8 players during COVID. Now that you sort of kind of got a NFL 50 number of 50 guys on the team, like, that's great job on his behalf of finding talent and finding those student athletes to come and play for Douglas and actually have a season, and could possibly, like you said, might win a championship this year.
Yeah, it'd be a great story, that is for sure. Thank you, Zach Boyd. We truly appreciate you filling in for Jay Morgan. We got to thank Evan Barnes, Andy Schiffman. We hope Glenn Rogers is okay. What a great showdown that will be. That is for certain. Right in East Memphis, Christian Brothers and the Owls of MUS tonight. We'll be watching a lot of college football. I can't wait to see the Ole Miss and Tennessee game. I'll be interested to see what Arkansas and Auburn will look like. How does Arkansas bounce back from the pain? Can Kentucky score some points on Georgia. Can't believe that line is 23. And Alabama, smarting from losing to Jimbo Fisher and A&M. They got Mike Leach and Mississippi State. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. That'll do it for us. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.